Hello. Forgive the dogs in the background growling out the window at probably a cat down the road. Um, we're at home. I want to share with you today another bit on racism, and as discouraging as it could be, it's actually a story of hope and reconciliation, and of how if one stops looking at the world through those filters that were built in from birth, those filters that we're taught to pull over our eyes, if one removes those and just is open to possibilities, how much better life can be. So this is along about the 5th month of my pregnancy, and it's late fall, early winter. We have moved from David's mom's apartment into a duplex, an actual place of our own, and David is working full-time. I'm brewing a child full-time and keeping the house. I was Susie Homemaker back then, believe it or not. And I kept that house spick and span. Dinner ready for David when he got in the door. I really overdid it, but he appreciated it at the time. Anyway, we lived in this duplex, and on the other side of the duplex was a young couple about our age. They already had a child, a little girl who was maybe 18 months. We're going to call the little girl Angie, and the mama Sue, because I can't remember their names. I do remember the guy's name because it was David, and that's very interesting. They, all three of them were white, and most of the neighborhood was white at that time. There were a few Hispanic folks, and maybe one or two African Americans down the way, but Polly at that time was mainly white, at least in that area. Anyway, we'd been there maybe a week or two when we started receiving notes in our mailbox. And by the way, folks, putting notes in mailboxes without going through the posting procedures, that's a felony. Don't do that. Even if it's sweet notes, which these were not. These were hate notes. Today they'd be considered hate crimes, I suppose, or evidence of a threatened hate crime, because the notes said things like, get out of town, this neighborhood is white, there's no place for in lovers, etc. Ugly notes, which we read and were disheartened by, but they didn't take away our hope. We were building a family together and very much in love, and things like this were not going to drive us apart or away. One night, after we'd been there maybe a month, maybe a little over a month, there was a storm. It was a Saturday evening, and it was so windy. And there wasn't rain, but it was that kind of air that you felt the rain just sitting right in it, and you knew there'd be big drops soon. It was the wind, though, that was worrying us. There was a huge oak tree in front that was already sort of split down the middle. And at one point during the evening, all 5 of us, the baby Angie, Sue, and the other David, and my David and I, ended up, and Leaf, so I guess that's 6 of us because he wasn't born yet, but he was there, on the front porch, looking at the tree, feeling the wind, and worrying all together, worrying. The guys said, y'all go to the back of the house, meaning me and Sue and the baby. And we're going to fix this tree so it doesn't fall down on the house, because that's what we were all worried about. It's really stormy, and it was really fearsome. And to move back, I messed up the story, but moving back about a week, Sue had come to me and knocked on the door and come in to talk, and she was very distraught, just beside herself. She said, I have to tell you that the person who's been putting those notes in your mailbox is my husband. I don't believe the way he does, and I don't want you to think that everybody here is against you. And I just want to apologize, and I can't speak for him, but please, please forgive me. And I assured her that she had no control over any other human being, and we talked for a long time, had a good visit. So now, flash to a week later when we're all on the porch, and the guys send the girls back to the back of the house, and I don't remember where the rope came from, who got what, but they somehow tied that tree up. I think if it really wanted to crack in two and fall, it would have done it, but they accomplished what appeared to be a solution. And Sue, Angie, and I went back to the front of the house. The guys were standing there looking at their handiwork, and it's still stormy. It's still dark, thunder and lightning, and there seems to be some sort of calm, though, that's taken place, because there's David and the other David working together. The other David turned to us and said, I want to apologize. I was brought up to be very bigoted, and I'm the one who wrote those notes and put them in your mailbox. I didn't tell him that Sue had already told me that, of course not. And David didn't mention it either. We just listened to his apology and accepted it. And because of that storm, I mean, they say, God moves in mysterious ways. The energy that you put out there, it changes things. And we all stood on that porch and looked at that tree and watched as the wind subsided and the raindrops came down. And there was calm and peace. So, with that, think about those filters, those murky sometimes eye coverings that we put on when we look at the world. Pull them back. Pull them back and look at people as people. As just people. Peace.